Greetings, fellow traveler. Tired of the troubles of your journey? Here, take a seat by the fire and let me spin you a grim tale of a dark future where there is only war. Today I shall tell you of some of the most horrifying regions in the entire galaxy, places where even the Imperium of Man doesn't dare to venture because of the unknown cosmic horrors that dwell within. The Halo Stars and the Ghoul Stars. Stars at the edge of our galaxy where the light of the Astronomicon doesn't shine, hiding new and unknown xenos in their darkest depths. These are some of the most remote and unknown areas of the Milky Way, and the mysterious dangers they harbor have raised rumors that they are cursed. Without further ado, let's dive into the lore. The Halo Stars are a formation of the oldest stars in the Milky Way. Surrounding the galaxy in a circumference of about 200,000 light-years, they are the last star systems before the immense darkness of the intergalactic void. The Halo Stars are literally the edge of the abyss. Being such distant stars, the light from the Astronomicon doesn't reach the Halo Stars, making it extremely dangerous to travel between them. Hence, the Imperium of Man hasn't colonized or explored the Halo Stars, making it a haven for pirates, heretics, warp entities, and new and unknown lethal xenos species lurking in the shadows of the unknown void. In fact, the home system of the Necrons is located in the Halo Stars, so if one of the most dangerous species in the entire galaxy originates from this uncharted area, who knows what more unknown horrors it may harbor. Many in the Imperium believe that the Halo Stars are cursed. For those who dare to explore this mysterious region in search for archaeotech and exotic riches rarely return. Not even the legendary Lord Solar Macarius was able to take his crusade to the Halo Stars. His men did not cross the border of unknown space, for it was rumored that the Halo Stars beyond the Segmentum Pacificus were haunted and the worlds that orbit them were full of ghosts. However, there is one region of the Halo Stars that is being explored and colonized by the Imperium, the Kronos Expanse, an area of the Halo Stars adjacent to the Calixic sector in the Segmentum Obscurus. Thanks to some old star maps recovered from previous explorations, now several fleets of rogue traders set out to the Kronos Expanse to conquer them in the name of mankind. In fact, those of you who've played Rogue Trader will have become familiar with the kind of horrors that await mankind in this far-flung area of the stars, as the campaign takes place precisely in the Kronos Expanse. Those few who have returned from the Halo Stars with treasures and riches, undoubtedly their greatest and most terrible find is the Halo device. Also known as Halo artifacts, these are pieces of technology recovered from Cyclopean ruins on Xenos worlds in dead star systems. The civilization to which these artifacts belonged has been extinct for millennia, and only ruins so weathered that they give no sign or clue as to what they were like remain. Each Halo device is unique in appearance. Some look like jewelry, necklaces, rings. Others might resemble trilobite fossils or sinister orbs with fluid, glossy surfaces. However, they all share a metallic feel to them, and no Auspex or any other type of scanner has been able to successfully analyze them, and also they are almost indestructible. There are many rumors and tales about these exotic artifacts, said to grant immortality to their users, but at a high cost. Many imperial nobles and those with the necessary capital and influence seek to get their hands on the Halo devices, craving the gift of eternal life they promise, completely unaware of the horror that awaits them. For the rumors are very true indeed. Being exposed or being in contact with these artifacts for a prolonged period of time does grant immortality. The bodies of those who wear them rejuvenate, they have renewed energy, they can live forever, any disease or mutation will be cured, any missing limbs will grow back, albeit slowly and painfully, their senses are sharpened, they are able to move with supernatural grace, and only the most severe wounds will be able to affect them. However, as I said, this immortality comes at a price. The artifacts will begin to fuse with the user's flesh, and their mind and body will gradually transform. First, their sanity will begin to break down. Normal sensory stimuli will no longer affect them. where once they found satisfaction and pleasure, there is only frustration. They will also start to suffer sudden mood swings, and eventually they will not need more than a couple of hours of sleep every few days. The little time they do sleep, they will suffer strange phantasmagoric dreams, visions of alien creatures and huge cities lit by mysterious stars. After a few years exposed to the Halo device, their bodies will heal any kind of wound over time, and they will develop superhuman speed, strength, and resilience. Their minds will descend further and further into madness. They no longer need to eat, drink, or sleep, but will feel compulsions, strange addictions, and insatiable hungers. For example, the need to consume human flesh, blood, and cranial fluid, or having memories of strange civilizations, languages, or xenos scripts intermingle with their own memories and even replacing them. After decades of contact with their flesh, the device will have become fully integrated into their body, absorbed into the user's cellular makeup. Their bodies will have been transformed into nightmarish creatures that can no longer be considered human. Each transformation is unique. Some have burning and glowing eyes, cadaverous flesh, gaunt and distorted features, mottled or armored skin, or even thin beetle-like carapaces. But what is common to all transformations is that their fingers are usually transformed into long claws of exposed bone. These foul creatures are now strong enough to tear off heads with ease, survive the vacuum of space, and some are even rumored to have come back to life after death. The broken, madness-ridden human mind that once housed this body no longer exists, replaced by something completely inhuman. A heretical union of intellects that can speak in long-dead languages and ruminate on all too human desires with inhuman patience. So basically, in exchange for immortality, you become a goddamn immortal alien zombie who's completely mental. Worth it? I don't think so. The original purpose of these devices is unknown. Whether the intent of their Xenos creators was this terrifying transformation of the human mind and body or something else remains a mystery. But if intentional, it speaks of great malice on the part of the strange Xenos who forged them. As expected, the Inquisition is well aware of these heretical artifacts and seeks to destroy them and anyone who has them in their possession at all costs. Many who have come into contact with these artifacts have become infamous heretics who have caused devastation in their wake, and simply owning a Halo device or even selling fake Halo devices is considered a crime punishable by death. However, the promise of immortality is too tempting for those with the resources to get their hands on these precious and cursed artifacts. Right, so the Halo stars are the frontier of the unknown, the last stars before the great interstellar void, and they are full of xenos, pirates, heretics, and truly horrifying artifacts. No wonder the superstitious believe them to be cursed. However, there is one area of the Halo stars that is particularly terrifying. To the galactic northeast, in the region of the Halo stars, beyond the space known to the Imperium of mankind, lies a vast expanse of virtually unexplored space. The Ghoul Stars. One of the reasons it has remained unexplored and free of Imperial presence, aside from harboring cosmic horrors and xenos species as lethal as they are mysterious, is because it lies beyond the light of the Astronomicon, and without the light of the Emperor's beacon, navigators can't safely navigate the waters of the Great Ocean. Many navigators flat out refuse to undertake voyages in such conditions because of the extreme dangers involved. And you might just think, well, this is very similar to the Halo stars. Believe me, the Ghoul Stars are far worse. Millennia ago, the Ghoul Stars were populated by human worlds and xenos civilizations that were wiped out by an unknown threat, leaving a great number of dead worlds lit by the cold light of ancient and dying stars. We don't know exactly what caused such devastation. It is speculated that it could have been some Lovecraftian cosmic horror that emerged from somewhere in the Ghoul Stars, or even from another parallel dimension different from reality and the warp. We know that such parallel dimensions exist in Warhammer 40k, Necrons manipulate different dimensions with their technology, and flayed ones usually spend most of their time in the grotesque Flayer dimension. Some speculate that perhaps in the Ghoul Stars, the veil between dimensions is weaker than elsewhere in the galaxy, allowing the entry into our reality of fearsome extra-dimensional entities. However, there is another incident that could explain this mysterious massacre related to an artifact known as the Echoing Vault. The Echoing Vault was a strange xenos artifact recovered by an explorator fleet in M32 after returning from a voyage to the depths of the Halo Stars. Its nature and origin was completely unknown, but before long it unleashed a wave of xenos creatures never before seen by the Imperium of Man. These creatures were dubbed the Harrowing. They violated all known laws of physics, and simply being in their proximity caused death or insanity. These mysterious creatures ravaged everything in their path for several years, inflicting heavy casualties upon the Space Marines and the Inquisition, who tried to put an end to their destruction. Finally, the Inquisition discovered a way to put an end to the chaos unleashed by the Echoing Vault through the union of archaeotech and warp sorcery. Thanks to this desperate measure, the Harrowing returned into the Echoing Vault, and the Mechanicus used a forbidden weapon from the Dark Age of technology to seal the breach created by the artifact. So terrible was the devastation unleashed by the Echoing Vault that after the conflict, the Inquisition purged all its records of Imperial history so that no one else would discover the horror experienced during the Harrowing or what they had to do to stop it. And yes, I know what you're thinking, if all this happened in the Halo Stars, what does it have to do with the Ghoul Stars? Well, since the Ghoul Stars is part of the Halo Stars, the Harrowing could have wiped out the Ghoul Stars in its wake, turning its worlds into the dead and desolate landscapes they are today. Another event that could explain the large number of dead worlds in the Ghoul Stars is known as the Pale Wasting. The Pale Wasting is described as both a star-spawned plague that wiped out several human worlds and as nightmare engines that slaughtered entire sectors. So brutal was the Pale Wasting that apart from leaving most of the Ghoul Stars worlds desolate, it wiped out 11 Space Marine chapters, 11,000 Astartes slaughtered by this bizarre apocalyptic event. Most Imperial reports and records of this event were censored or purposely destroyed, most likely by the Inquisition, but the few Imperial records that mention this conflict point to it being xenos in nature. And as far as we know, they mention that at least the Nova Marines participated in the fight against the Pale Wasting. However, both the Nova Marines and other chapters listed as participating in this conflict have no record of the Pale Wasting in their archives. The only evidence for the Nova Marines meeting this threat is an ancient stela relating to this conflict in the Imperial Palace itself. This artifact praises the chapter most highly and records them compellingly as having, quote, "by their mortal sacrifice and unmatched valour, unmade that which cannot die, and so preserved the most holy realm of mankind." So even though this was one of the first large-scale battles in which the Nova Marines participated, it remains a grim mystery and an example of the horrors that dwell within the Ghoul Stars. To ensure that nothing like the Pale Wasting would ever again plague the Imperium, by order of the High Lords of Terror, the Death Spectres chapter was stationed on a world outside the Imperial borders, on the edge of the Ghoul Stars, with the express mission of guarding the Ghoul Stars and eliminating any threat arising from them, ensuring that their dark and mysterious dwellers would never again threaten the Imperium. And despite being on the edge of the Ghoul Stars, their homeworld of Occludus also harbours a rather dark mystery. Deep beneath the surface, directly under the fortress monastery, lies a strange glass throne of xenos origin known as the Shariax, or simply the Throne of Glass. The chapter master, or Magir according to the Occludan dialect, takes his position upon the throne on the very day of taking his rank, and once seated will not rise until his death. Since taking their seat on the Shariax, the chapter masters rarely communicate with their chapter, and when they do, it is only to a privileged few. The exact function of this mysterious throne is unknown, but it's clear that it grants great psychic power to its user in exchange for draining their life essence little by little, while petrifying them until their body turns completely to stone. Thus, the chapter masters of the Death Spectres must all be psychers. and when one finally dies on the throne, he is usually succeeded by the chief librarian. Thanks to this immense power granted by the throne, noticeable by psychers from orbit, the chapter master can use his gift for the good of the chapter, aiding them from his throne when necessary. So we got a mysterious dark throne of possibly xenos origin that grants great psychic power in exchange for draining the life essence of its user, and he who sits upon it rarely communicates with his subjects. Sounds rather familiar, don't you think? Anyway, moving on with the lore, the Death Spectres are the shield of mankind against the horrors born from the dark void of the Ghoul Stars, and they will carry out their duty until they have purged them completely or they are destroyed by the vile dwellers of this mysterious and unknown region. Returning to the Ghoul Stars per se, not even the Tyranids dare venture into this dangerous region of space. In the year 997 of M41, a Tyranid splinter fleet emerged from the border of the Ghoul Stars to invade the imperial world of Orask. However, their voyage through the Ghoul Stars had disoriented and twisted them somehow, as if something had transformed or corrupted them. The defenders of Orask were reinforced with a full company of the Red Talon Space Marines and a Titan maniple of Legio Magna. However, the savagery of the Tyranid attack caused tens of thousands of casualties in a few solar days before they could be driven back. Ever since this event, the Hive fleets have preferred to avoid the Ghoul Stars, because apart from not having a lot of biomass because most of their worlds are dead, it seems that not even the Hive mind dares to venture into the darkness of the Ghoul Stars. Right, so the Ghoul Stars are a super sinister part of space full of nightmarish horrors. Sure, okay, we get it, but what kind of horrors exactly? Well, since it's basically uncharted territory with a high number of dead worlds, the Imperium hasn't really identified a lot of species except from two. The lore does state that it's home to other creatures that seem to have crawled out of humanity's worst nightmares, but that's about all the information we have. And this is a two-edged sword. It helps keep the mystery factor and activates the spectator's imagination, but it's also kind of lazy writing from GW, not expanding the lore and giving us more terrifying creatures who can just go, oh yeah, sure, there are many Lovecraftian cosmic horrors beyond mortal comprehension, believe me, wink wink. Another more immersive way to understand this part of the galaxy, along with the Halo stars, would be understanding it as the equivalent to regions on the map where we used to draw mythological creatures like dragons or krakens to indicate danger or uncharted territory. In other words, it's the Here Be Dragons of 40k. Alright, sure, that makes sense, but what about those two species that we do know about? Well, on the one hand, we have the Togoran Bloodreeks, which apart from their name, we only know that they are described as fierce creatures who favour close combat, and on the other hand, we have the Scythor Fiends, which luckily do have more lore to them. The Scythor Fiends are humanoid creatures with bat-like wings and long sharp claws to disembowel their prey. Their biology is quite peculiar indeed. Slender figures with skin that seems to reflect light and elongated inhuman faces that look like direct parodies of the human form. Their eye sockets shine with a strange light that seems to paralyze any who dare look upon them. Also, they are able to alter their bodies and turn into crystalline mobile objects that can accelerate to great speeds and eviscerate their victims in seconds. Their technology also seems crystal-based, living in great fortresses on their worlds with shimmering crystal walls, and they even have spaceships to move between the stars. Being the wardens of the Ghoul Stars, the Death Spectres have often fought the Scythor Fiends. In fact, the Death Spectres launched a great campaign to eradicate this strange xenos threat, but found their worlds mysteriously empty, as if the xenos had suddenly vanished into thin air. The Death Spectres concluded that the Scythor Fiends possessed some kind of technology that allowed them to avoid their invaders and any attempt of extermination. In time, the Scythor Fiends returned to their worlds, and the Death Spectres limited themselves to repel any attempts of the Scythor Fiends to penetrate the Imperium's borders, containing the Xenos threat to the Ghoul Stars as to protect mankind from their depredations. However, their story doesn't end there. The Scythor Fiends would be visited by a far more aggressive chapter, the Black Templars. In M41, when Helbrecht ascended to High Marshal, his first ever campaign was against the Scythor Fiends, and along with the Death Spectres, the Black Templars purged most of their worlds. Alas, the Xenos homeworld again was mysteriously empty. Only their crystal fortresses remained, with no trace of the Xenos to be found. What happened to the Scythor Fiends remains a mystery. However, they have been sighted again on several occasions, for example upon the demon world of Sublime at the edge of the Eye of Terror. But how did these Xenos manage to disappear without being detected by the Imperium? Some speculate that perhaps these particular Xenos belong to a parallel dimension. As we've discussed, some theories postulate that the veil between dimensions is thinner within the region of the Ghoul Stars, allowing extra-dimensional creatures to cross into our reality. This would explain the strange ability of the Scythor Fiends to simply vanish into thin air and turn up on the other side of the galaxy. However, again, this is all just pure speculation, and the true nature and origin of these strange Xenos remains unknown. Apart from the Scythor Fiends and apocalyptic star-spawned plagues like the Pale Wasting, perhaps the most terrifying threat that resides in the Ghoul Stars is the Bone Kingdom of Drazak, a Necron tomb world inhabited only by thousands of flayed ones. Necrons infected with the Flayer virus, a cosmic plague that drives them insane and causes an insatiable hunger to consume flesh and wear the flayed skins of their victims. Apart from the Flayer dimension, the Bone Kingdom of Drazak holds the highest concentration of flayed ones in the entire galaxy. The city's dark and devastated streets are completely without order. Flayed ones stalk its passages like scavengers, fighting for the last scraps of rotting flesh or bone splinters in their mad desperation to sate their endless hunger. Only one inhabitant of this dark city has managed to retain his sanity: the Necron Lord Vagul. Vagul refused to abandon his people to their fate, ruling over a kingdom of madness from his throne of splintered bone and tanned skin, trying to keep the little order he can amongst his subjects. Vagul is known amongst his peers as the Fallen Lord, since, contrary to the rest of Necrons who despise flayed ones, Vagul remains in their company and tries to do everything he can for those who were once his loyal subjects. Somehow, Vagul seems to be immune to the Flayer virus. He doesn't seem to have been subjected to the terrible transformation of the curse, nor has he lost his mind. And how on earth can Vagul pretend to rule over subjects who have gone completely mad and only crave fresh meat to satisfy their eternal hunger? Well, by giving them precisely what they want. Every few months, when the last scrap of decaying flesh has disappeared from the dark streets of his kingdom, Vagul declares a time of bounty, launching devastating raids against nearby worlds to harvest blood and flesh for his subjects. All in all, the Halo Stars and the Ghoul Stars are the most unknown regions in the galaxy. They harbour unnamed horrors, creatures out of mankind's worst nightmares, and truly terrifying secret and forbidden alien artefacts like the Halo devices. Without the light of the Astronomicon, the Imperium can hardly venture into these regions to face the threats that lie in their depths, and thus remain a haven for pirates, heretics, and completely unknown Xenos species. Thus, we can only stand watch at the frontier of the unknown to contain any horror spawned from these cursed stars. Well, there you have it, the Halo Stars and the Ghoul Stars. Honestly, they are really interesting and sinister regions of space. Some of the few regions in the galaxy so dangerous as to keep the Imperium of Man at bay. Personally, although I love the concept of unknowable cosmic horrors, the fact that the greatest and most terrifying threat within the Ghoul Stars is just a kingdom of flayed ones is kind of a letdown. It's supposedly a region full of cosmic horrors, ancient and unknowable alien entities. But flayed ones are old news. We know about them. Yes, they are terrifying and they are infected with the cosmic curse of a star god. Sure. But I don't know, in my opinion I would have liked something a bit different, a new kind of cosmic horror, something more Lovecraftian along the lines of the harrowing or the pale wasting. But I guess that's how you keep unknown cosmic horrors unknown, making use of your imagination so that everyone can picture their own kind of horror that dwells in the darkness of these obscure regions of space. Anyway, that's enough from me for now. If you liked the video, you know the drill. Leave a like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching, and I hope we meet again in the next video.